Bonjour à tous. Très bonne journée, très bon après-midi, très bonne soirée.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good morning for those on the other side of the globe, good afternoon. I'm always very happy to be able to welcome you, and we would like to extend to all of you a very warm welcome for this fifth innovation series organized within the framework of this collaboration between PAFO and COLEACP. Thank you very much to the over 1,300 who registered for this session, and thank you very much, more specifically, for those who actually joined. As we look into this session, we see we have over 83 nationalities interested, and so we have people from African countries mainly. So thank you very, very much for being interested, for your loyalty. Thank you very much to our technical and financial partners from the EU, ACP Secretariat, UN, and bilateral cooperation supporting us in the management of our knowledge. I would like to remind you that there is simultaneous interpretation available in French and English, and your questions and comments are strongly encouraged. You may use the chat box or the Q&A box for your interactions. I would also like to remind you that this session is being recorded and it will be made available online on social networks and on the websites of PAFO and COLEACP. This being said, my name is Fatma Ben REJEB. I'm the Executive Secretary for the Pan-African Farmers Organization, PAFO. It is a platform of African farming organizations who presented through the 5 networks and over 70 national organizations in over 50 African countries and representing tens of millions of African farmers. A certain number of you already used to the innovation series since the first, which took place in November. These are 2-hour online sessions organized every 2 months to share best practices of farmers and African agro entrepreneurs. All the recordings of the previous sessions, including the fact sheet for the SMEs and PMEs presented, are available on PAFO and COLEACP websites. And so today, this is our 5th session for the innovation series, and the topic is food safety and innovation, food and nutrition security, the contribution of MSMEs and businesses. Africa is a country rich, very rich in resources, in the biodiversity, many different cultures also, which are very big assets to ensure the nutritional safety of the population. However, the statistics remain alarming. In a study carried out in 2021 by the FAO, the African organization, and the African Corporation, there is this regional overview of food safety and nutrition in Africa to transform food systems for healthy and affordable nutrition. So you received the conceptual note of this session, and you may access this study through the web links being sent. Now, during the 4th session, we discussed sustainable food systems, and we underlined the importance of the African companies, entrepreneurs and farmers in order to ensure food sustainability. In this session, we wanted to dig into this aspect of things as the UN Food Summit is close, and we must say that the key factors of success are including sufficient and good healthy food, a balanced diet, food produced respecting the environment, and operations throughout the value chain that are sustainable, diversified diets, and the food sold at a fair price, especially food which is the extra food produced by the families. And I will not discuss the detail, but I'll let my colleague Isolina BOTO, in charge of the networks and alliances for COLEACP, present the session, the program, and the panelists. I will then wrap up the sessions, your questions and comments, and I hope we'll have many in the chat box. I would like to raise your awareness to the fact that you received the links for the programs and the bios of the speakers in order to enable those who connect later to access them. The links will be sent to you as a reminder in the Q&R box, the Q&A box. And so before I give the floor to Isolina, let me give the floor to Mr. Jeremy KNOPS, General Delegate for COLEACP, for a few introductory comments. So you have the floor, Jeremy. Thank you very much, Fatma.
I'll be speaking in English. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. So my name is Jeremy KNOPS. I'm COLEACP General Delegate. I welcome you, of course, to this fifth webinar organised in collaboration with PAFO. I'd like to start by thanking all panelists, but also, of course, all participants. As Fatma mentioned, all of you for your time to be with us today and joining us in these reflections, in the thinking process around this extremely important topic of food security and nutrition. Fatma mentioned that from an international agenda policy perspective, it's a crucial point in time this year. It's also the International Year for Fruit and Vegetables. And we are in a globally extremely disrupted environment for several reasons, amongst which, of course, the sanitary situation, but of course also the effects of climate change, which are increasing year by year. So as a reminder, a very brief reminder, at COLEACP, we are a not-for-profit private sector association, and our members are producers, processors, traders, and also importers of fruit and veg. And our members are spread throughout today almost 50 countries, amongst which the majority in sub-Saharan Africa, but also in the Caribbean and in the European Union. And all our members basically believe and share this responsibility of producing, processing, marketing healthy, nutritious and sustainable food. Now, from an operational perspective, the way as an association we contribute to this with our members is thanks to the support of several donors, amongst which the European Union and the Organization of the ACP States, by implementing technical assistance programs. And the common denominator in these different interventions that we're currently managing is facilitating market access for our SMEs, including, of course, producer groups. Now, having said that, for some of you, you might recall COLEACP more as being, of course, very oriented towards export markets. And to a large extent, it is true, because over the lifetime of COLEACP, a lot of the efforts of the association and the center of gravity of the members of the association has been on export trade flows from Africa, Caribbean, Pacific countries towards mainly the European Union, with a sectoral focus on fruit and veg. But that has evolved, and it has evolved, I would say, since 2010, and the evolution has been accelerating itself since 2015, to result today in a situation where basically around 2/3 of the MSMEs and producing, processing entities still focused on the fruit and veg side we work with across 50 countries, are also active and commercializing their produce on domestic and regional markets. Now, facilitating market access, how do we contribute to doing this? Well, it's by facilitating access to a number of other elements. So it's about facilitating access to information, skills, competencies. It's also facilitating access to new technologies, research outputs. It's also about increasingly contributing to facilitating access to finance, all these different elements. And one of our main challenges today, if we take a step back as an organization, of course, in full synergy with our members and with our financial partners, is to find the best ways to make sure that all the advances and the best practices that have been developed and managed more for export markets, and notably on the compliance side and on the food safety side, well, are also applied and fully applied for production and hence consumption on domestic and regional markets throughout the regions where we intervene. And that, I would say, is a challenge that occupies us daily today, because it's of course a bit more complex than just making sure that these all these practices and all the technologies are fully taken up. That would be the push side, but there's of course a number of market dynamics, and Fatma introduced it on the importance of raising awareness amongst consumers and more broadly civil society, competent authorities. There needs to be at the same time a pull effect from the market, and we need to find the best ways to accompany the push and the pull in order for producers to earn good revenues from their production and bringing those healthy, nutritious foods to the markets for consumers. So that's really in a nutshell what I wanted to share in this introduction. I wish you all, of course, a very good session, and I'll be looking forward to hearing from panelists, but also from participants through the chat on basically finding maybe some key messages and key ways on how today us at COLEACP, PAFO, and others we can define the best strategies to increase our efforts in meeting the second sustainable development goal. So thank you, Fatma, again, for collaboration in general, of course, and for your introduction. And I'll give the floor back to Isolina. Again, welcome to everybody. Thank you, and have a good session.
Merci, Jérémy, et merci surtout d'avoir.
Thank you, Jeremy, and thank you very much for reminding us that this year is the International Year of Fruit and Vegetables. During this summit of the UN, this UN Food Summit, we've got the pre-summit is starting next week, by the way. The pre-summit is starting next week. So yes, as I said, I will be back with my questions and comments at the end, but I will now give the floor to Isolina. And to start, let me start with a question coming from Monsieur Elijah Gitiro, a producer in Kenya, who asked this question. And of course, we received many other questions during the recording, and they will all be considered for the discussion. But Mr. Elijah is wondering what should be doing differently in terms of innovation, in terms of technological inputs, to bypass this difficulty to feed well this increased global population with a limited land, limited access to water, and extreme weather conditions. What can we do differently? What should we do differently? And what should we be doing collectively in order to face this issue of food safety? This was a question of Mr. Mamadou from Mali. We can now carry on with our two panelists to try and find an answer to these questions and dig into these questions. You have the floor, Isolina.
To all the participants that are here with us today, despite holidays and many challenges, and as you say, the pre-summit starting on Monday and so on. So quickly, we'll focus now the program on the entrepreneurs, the SMEs from Africa, from different countries, from different value chains, as you will see, that will share with us their business experience, the opportunities, the success factors which allow them to produce and sell nutritious and healthy food. And then we will have two fabulous discussants as well, telling us about the ecosystem, what we need in terms of research, of policy, and of finance, of course, to support those SMEs that are focusing on local and regional markets in Africa. But as Jeremy said before, they also export, of course, and they also gain a lot of experience and knowledge from those export markets. But they are all now in local and regional markets, and hopefully taking full advantage of the coming implementation of the free trade continental agreement. So without major delay now, I will ask, I'm thanking her as well, Axel, to pass the PowerPoint for Marie-Ange. We have now with us Marie-Ange MUKAGAHIMA, who is the founder and CEO of Zima Enterprise in Rwanda, a company that adds value to pumpkin and pumpkin seeds. She has been awarded as the best youth innovator by Rwanda Youth Connect, by the Bank of Kigali, just in 2021, and she has received many recognitions from business partners. She will share with us the story of developing nutritious food from horticultural products, and a very important part, minimizing food losses and developing innovations. Thank you very much, Marie-Ange, for being with us. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Isolina. This is Marie-Ange MUKAGAHIMA from Rwanda, and I am Managing Director of Zima Enterprise. Zima Enterprise have started during 2017 with the aim of adding value to pumpkins. The vegetable at which it was very easy to grow in all areas of our country and in the region as well, and was not well produced due to different circumstances from our farmers, like lack of skills, lack of market, and also lack of proper consumption. So the perception of the customer, because in our country, pumpkins were considered as imperial good, imperial food for farmers and peasants, while it was very nutritious and full of nutrition that sometimes required by doctors to order to their patients who have suffering from cardiovascular diseases and so on. It was very important to people who are like under 5 children and pregnant women to consume such kind of nutrition, but they are available from pumpkins while they are less consumed. So as Zima Enterprise, we have selected to add value to pumpkins so as to boost our farming condition in our country, especially in rural farmers who are suffering from lack of the market from their production, and also to link the farmers to the market where people need to
Hello, Marie-Ange. Did we lose you?
Yes, can you hear me now, please?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I was talking that we wanted to link the market to the farmers, because in our country, we have the big part of our people are the farmers, but the way they do their business is not professional. They don't have market. They don't have someone to encourage them and to take their production. So Zima have organized the way to organize the rural women farmers who grow pumpkins. We provide them with the seed where they grow pumpkins, then they supply them to us. So from that system, we have produced different products such as pumpkin seed oil, pumpkin cookies, roasted pumpkin seeds, and pumpkin seed flour, all from single pumpkins that was recently neglected and worked as food for peasants, which are also full of nutritious like magnesium, like potassium, omega, and so on, that was highly needed by people who suffer from different diseases like diabetes, obesity, blood pressure, prostate cancer. And by consuming a lot of those nutrition reduces the risk of having such kind of disease in our society. So in our Zima, we have now 10 permanent employees and several casuals who have worked in different sales, like sales agents, selling our product in different areas of our country. We envision to boost our production and to export our sales from Rwanda to the region and from the region to the world, the rest of the world. A part of the production also, we emphasize on the youth, as long as also I am the youth, of course, but also we consider the way recently it was not easy to get the job by the youth because we have a high unemployment rate. But we as youth, if we invest in the production like this, we consider our fellow youth. We provide the jobs. We encourage them, not only to encourage them, but also to boost and to encourage the young women, the young girls like us, how to create their own opportunity in our locality, in our villages, by producing more of the unused resources and providing the job themselves and for others. Just like that. About our production, we produce 19.4 ton of pumpkin products, where we produce such kind of product like the oil and everything. We sell in all supermarkets in Rwanda, especially in Kigali, where we have high income earners, and they are the first to consume our product. And also we want to move from the high income earners to the low ones, where we want to decentralize the nutrition value from the pumpkins to all Rwandese. And in the region, we have also started to export, where we have sent the product to DRC, and also we will continue to scale our production in the whole region of East Africa. We also we improved access to quality pumpkin during harvesting, where we have provided the solar dryers to our farmers. We have built the solar dryer where when they get the harvest, they gather the production and they remove the seed. They dry them and they supply the seed, the dried harvested to our factory, where we process them, the ore products. Please go down. In the beginning, we work in some district, but for now, we have started in one district of the country, but now we have scaled to 7 districts in the country, and we want to continue to move so that we will fully produce in all 30 districts of our country. We have competitive price where we want all our customers to be included, and the high income earners and the low ones, so that all we have the benefit and the nutrition value from the pumpkins by packing our product in different sizes and from different categories, so that all customers should be included. We also have changed from producing the non-durable product to the very guaranteed, the long guaranteed product, where in the beginning, like 2017, we produced like pumpkin cakes and pumpkin bread, but now we have a durable product where we moved the pumpkin seed oil, pumpkin cookies that should be also have long guarantee and be easy to export in other countries. It is also very possible for pumpkins to be grown in all seasons, so they are not seasonable. So we make cross rotation where we produce in all seasons across the year. And we build a very strong relationship with our partners, like the government, like different NGO who provide with our employees and myself by providing needed skills to strengthen our system and our cycle by a good packaging system. We have different partners like SheTrade, like ITC, we have DPN and so on. All those partners helped us with improving from one level to another one with needed skills and everything to boost our production process to another international level. We always emphasize to be honest and responsible to our customers, because not only our products are to be sold, but also they are medicaments sometimes, they are food and medicaments. So to be honest to our customers helped us to have a long-lasting market. So, yeah, this is our mission and vision, where our company wants to become the leading brand in the pumpkin processing industry in Rwanda, as well as in East Africa. And we expect to open a center for all pumpkin-related products in East Africa. We have the mission of establishing a world-class pumpkin processing company whose product will be sold and be used in small and big supermarkets in Rwanda, and also be exported in the East Africa, as we said, and we have started in the DRC. Those are some of our products, as you will find on our website, zimarwanda.com. And we will continue to strengthen our branding and labeling so that it can be more efficient and have a strong label to the international market. In 2017, we worked everything manually and semi-manual, but now we have moved and enabled to purchase a sophisticated machines, where now we have able to produce for local markets and for the regional markets. From 2020 to 2021, we are able to we hope after this curfew and everything related, we'll be able to scale up our production and our market as well. Scroll down, please. As Mrs. Isolina said,
I think it's your last slide, Marianne.
Yeah, yes, she had said we have won different awards, and through all those success, this is where our partners and our stakeholders got the chance to believe in us and to give a chance to continue to scaling our business. And as pumpkins is not only for the Rwanda, but it's like our cultural product in Africa, where not only in East Africa, but even in West Africa, they have a lot of pumpkins to be processed and to be produced. And we are envisioning to partner with them so that we can put the pumpkin processing to another level. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Marie-Ange. And you had already a few questions, some answered in the chat. and others more about your relation with the farmers and if you use the oil for cooking and so on. But we will get back to that in the question answer service session, sorry. So our next speaker now is Jolenta Joseph, the founder and CEO of Sanavita in Tanzania. She's a young nutritionist, food entrepreneur, and agri-food processing trainer in Tanzania. She will explain to us how she has developed innovative uses of local crops, both in her company, but also adding value to crops such as orange flesh, sweet potatoes, beans, maize, and so on. She has won many awards internationally and nationally, including from GAIN. And I have to say for our Lawrence HADDAD guest in the discussion that it's very difficult to find projects on nutrition which haven't been at some stage supported by GAIN. It's very impressive. So Jolenta will share now how Sanavita contributes to address malnutrition in Tanzania, focusing on vitamin A and iron deficiency through agribusiness engagements and how she involves smallholder farmers. So please, Jolenta. In 7 minutes, if it's possible.
Okay, thank you so much. As introduced, my name is Jolenta Joseph from Tanzania. I'm the managing director for Sanavita Company Limited. Sanavita is a limited company established in 2017 without being registered and registered in 2019 with the goal of addressing malnutrition through agribusiness engagement and using staple crops. Currently, we are producing biofortified crops in Tanzania, which are orange flesh sweet potatoes, provitamin A maize, as well as high iron and zinc beans, which are officially released as a biofortified crops. And why we decided to go to this crop is I cannot move my slides. I don't know what's not happening.
So if you stop sharing your screen, Axel will help you. Stop sharing, perhaps we take it from our side. Yes, please, Axel. Continue on, Jolenta, you can still speak while...
So can I share now?
If you have problems, I think it's better, Axel. Axel, can you share? We will take it from our side and you just indicate next slide.
Okay. Okay, so we started our business because we found that farmers are producing these crops and they didn't have a clear connect with the market, and then we see these nutritious crops are being produced and farmers, they don't have a place to sell. So that is why we decided to establish our business so that we solve the issues of malnutrition as the key issues in our country, and also we can help these farmers to access the market for these crops. So we are sourcing our raw materials currently from these smallholder farmers. So as we all know that our country is suffering from high rates of malnutrition, mainly for the children. We have high rates of stunting and also high rates of vitamin A deficiency as well as iron. That is why we decided to venture to this crop so that to address these issues, because about more than 60% of the people or 90% of the people in the rural areas, they are consuming this staple crops. So we think the only way that we can help these people is promoting the production of nutritious crops, because they are not going to buy these crops, but they are producing and then they are consuming. Can you go to the next slide, please? So Sanavita is working hardly to connect these people to the markets, but also producing different kind of the products. Next, please. producing different kind of the products to add value and reach the people in the mid-town and the town areas. That is why we are supporting the smallholder farmers for them to produce and then for them to sell to us so that we add value and we prepare different products to reach the people in the town and the mid-town areas. That's why you are seeing one of the farm where we established the seed multiplication site so that they have access to clean vines, because we are taking these vines from the Tanzania, the TARI, I think it's the Tanzania Agricultural Research Institute, who are producing basic and pre-basic seeds so that the farmers have access to their areas at affordable and sometimes at a very cheap price so that they can produce enough for them and then can sell excess. Also, we are doing awareness creation, or I can say awareness campaigns, because these crops are a bit new to some of the people. They don't know the value or they don't know the nutritional benefits of these crops, so that we do awareness creation to the key players in the area of nutrition, like schools, health center or health facility workers. We do to also the religious leaders and all the key players in the nutrition area, so that whenever they are doing their work, they will be ambassadors to others so that they know about the nutrition and also they know the nutritional benefits of these crops, so that this will be easier to improve the feeding practices in the communities and also in the school or in the centers where they keep the kids and all those. Next, please. And so, as I said, these are the products we are producing from these products from orange flesh sweet potatoes, which is rich in beta carotene. We are producing different products, including the composite flour for the porridge. And this is because if you go to the market, you can find a lot of the porridges with a lot of cereals without without micronutrients. So we are producing the composite flour rich in beta carotene, and then with also other nutrients in it, so that the kids can get a healthy porridge while they are consuming. And also we have processed the flour from provitamin A maize, so that at least we get vitamin A from the stiff porridge flour. I think this is very common in Tanzania. Most of the people in their meals in the afternoon or evening, they must have the stiff porridge. So that's why we thought this is an important thing that we can do so that people get a nutritious product. And then we have high iron and zinc beans. Currently, we are producing it is powder or it is flour. And also we are making biscuits out of it. We have also integrated orange fresh sweet potato. So it has orange fresh sweet potatoes and then high iron and zinc beans, as well as other ingredients to add flavor and all those. But all of our products are organic and we don't add any chemicals. They are naturally made. We just control the moisture and the other processing techniques to make our products live longer in the market. Next, please. Of course, this is just performance. I just wanted to show you that this is a growing company. Since we started, we started at a very low level where we were just able to supply around 200 kgs of fresh orange fresh sweet potatoes. But currently, we can supply up to 3 tons of orange fresh sweet potato. And at that time, we were also having only one product, which was fresh orange fresh sweet potatoes. But currently, we have added other 2 crops. And also, we are also supplying now different products from this crop. So for us, that is a significant growth as we are reaching so many people. And also we are reaching so many farmers. We are working around 1,000 farmers in different villages who are peasant, I can say, who are smallholder farmers who are producing for their consumption, as well as also for selling the excess because they have already a ready market. And then we are selling also our products through different channels like supermarkets, the local shops, the local markets, so that at least we reach everybody in the locality without highly suffering from looking to see our products are in the market. Next, please. As said, in 2020, we won the prize from the global pitch competition. This process started in country, and then Sanavita won as the country business to participate in the global pitch competition, where there were 21 countries across African and the other countries. So among the prizes we won is again Food Technology Innovation Prize, which was cash prize, and also Aggrey Mentorship Prize. So we won 2 prizes out of 7 prizes. So that was really nice for us to expand our business and also like interact more with other entrepreneurs across Africa and Asian countries. Next, please. Next. So there are some of the publication. Of course, there are so many. If you go to our website page, you can find a lot of the published magazines across the Africa and Tanzania to see how our business is highly growing and writing different success stories. Of course, Sanavita, the founder, is also, we call it Malkia Nguvu in Tanzania, but this is a successful woman who is inspirational to other women. The award given by a big media in Tanzania, KNOPS Media Group, in 2019 in agribusiness category. So that's something that's adding value to our business. Next, please.
Very quickly, please, the later slides.
Yeah. So these are just the picture showing our work, and then we can go to next slide because we are using this Sokoine University laboratory to do the kind of analysis and other things so that we make sure our products are quality. And these are some of our photos. And then this marks the end of my presentation. So
thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Very interesting and very complementary to Marie-Ange's presentation on the use of wasted food, and all the smallholder relations, the awareness campaign, of course, the work on fortified products. You will see in the chat some of the questions and comments addressed to you directly that you can also pick up. There is a gentleman from Gambia who, yes, has very much the same experience. And I think one of the values is indeed to exchange experiences across different countries in Africa and beyond, of course. So without major delay, we go to our next SME, Oluwaseun Sangoleye, founder and CEO of Baby Grubz Nigeria. So she's an experienced nutrition educator, again, a multiple award-winning entrepreneur. She's a manufacturer of packaged infant meals and snacks made from grains, fruit, and vegetables, and an innovative social enterprise based in Nigeria, in Lagos, with also operations in Ghana, Togo, and the United Kingdom. And she has extensively published and wrote about child nutrition, and she also does online mentoring to many Nigerian mothers in a social media platform. So please go ahead, and if possible in 7 minutes, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Isolina. Hello, everyone. I bring you warm greetings from Lagos, Nigeria. My name is SANGOLEYE, and I'm the mom-in-chief at Baby Grubz, where we leverage the strength of mothers in the fight against malnutrition. And so today, I'm representing 40 million women well, 40 million of us couldn't possibly be here. So we're women of childbearing age, 18 to 40 years, and that's the demographic that we represent, mostly in the low income segments. And this child you're looking at is one of our children, and current statistics say that you're going to give birth to 6 children in our lifetime. And that's true because I have 3 already. And so more children equals more time off work. And also these children, there's burden of malnutrition. Currently in Nigeria, every single day, 2,300 children die from nutrition-related illnesses. And we have a solution. Our unique solution is 2-pronged. And one is innovation in food product design, and then 2 is innovation in market connectivity. So for our food product design, it's a result of a rigorous research into some of the ancient and most often overlooked crops in Africa that have high nutritional benefits for the Nigerian and indeed the African child. Some of these include sweet potatoes, like this vitamin A, biofortified sweet potato. We have egusi seeds, amongst others. And we then carefully formulate them to address the specific and known deficiencies of the Nigerian child. This particular product you're looking at on your screen is to address vitamin A deficiency, which the Nigerian government is also trying their best effort to reduce its prevalence. Also, we have products that target protein energy malnutrition. We have products that target iron deficiency and others. And then the second is that our innovation in market connectivity. Now, the mothers who feed the children, we empower them to be exclusive distributors of our foods. That's one. And they are also they serve as nutrition advocates in their respective communities. And so mothers feed the babies, and babies also feed the mother's pockets. This is a 2-pronged solution that I said we do. And this has helped us to scale. So we are scaling into countries such as Ghana, Togo in the past, and then in the UK. And one of the helpful factors is the versatility of the preparation of our foods. Regular baby food require mixing with water, but with baby Grubz, you can make it in so many other meals, like the traditional fufu, which I'm sure a lot of us here would be familiar with. You can make pancakes, you can make smoothies, cookies, and all the likes, especially for children who are, picky eaters. And so, but COVID also has taught us so many things. And I would briefly like to talk about a little bit of it. There's the positive and there's the negative. The negative is quality of raw materials has reduced drastically, and the prices of raw materials also have skyrocketed, while also affordability has become very difficult. An interesting story was told recently of 3 women. One of our distributors shared with us that they bought a jar of the food, which I showed you earlier, and then they divided it into 3 small bags just so that they can feed their children healthy foods. And so I know that that meal is not enough. And then I asked her, how are they able to, cope with that? And they say they mix it with the local fermented grill, which is not as, nutritious as baby Grubz. And that's one of the negative effects of COVID. But on the flip side, the positive effect is that we now have fresh eyes on the business. People are looking for healthier alternatives. People are looking for natural foods that they can feed their babies. And also, people are also looking for more affordable foods, as exchange rates have affected cost of imported foods, which is over 90% currently. And some of them are even unable to buy the foods because they are not available, as flights are limited, and there's shipping is limited and all of that. And so to help us seize these opportunities that has been presented, we are now making, one of the things that we have tried to do now is to make smaller sizes. The pack I showed you earlier is a 500-gram size. And so now we have 100 to 120-gram pack sizes of our products as against the 500 grams, which was the only size we had. And we have sampled the markets and the results are impressive. And so we'll be rolling out new sizes by the end of the year. We have local certifications, but because now we are expanding to different countries, we now try to, our aim is to have 2 international certifications before the end of this year, while we are also setting up our own in-house laboratory. Currently, the lab we have is outsourced, but it's within our facility. And so we're also looking to start our own in-grower scheme so that we can ensure continuous access to quality raw materials. And one of our expansion plans is to be sure that our audacious goal of reaching, getting 10% of the market share in the next 5 years is possible. Currently, the market is estimated to reach 200 billion Nigerian naira, which is about $500 million in the next 2 years. And so if Baby Grubz currently has 1% of $500 million, we are looking to expand to 10%, and we can do this. We have equipment that are coming in from China that will help us 10 times our current production capacities, and will help us to move from manual processing to automated processing. And we are currently seeking investors, we are seeking distributors from different African countries, and I'm sure this is a really great platform to throw out this opportunity to the world, and help us help our vision to become a leading multinational African company producing nutritious winning foods become a reality. Please partner with us, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and very impressive, and congratulations for your work on fighting malnutrition, and specifically on feeding African babies with healthy and consistent food. And I do hope that as for the others, that you will get support to, of course, expand and upscale the business, so much needed. Without major delay, that we have time for discussion, I will give the floor now to David Foli AYIVOR. We go back to Ghana. He's the founder and CEO of AGROMYX. He specializes in food and beverage management, research and development, supply chain management, and contract negotiations in the value chain. He will tell us how AGROMYX produces vitamin and mineral-rich food products with zero waste, tackling malnutrition and obesity in Ghana and across Africa. Please, in 7 minutes, David, and I think you share the screen yourself. Go on.
Hi, everyone. My name is David Foli AYIVOR, founder of AGROMYX. AGROMYX is an agro-food processing company with focus on post-harvest food waste loss in sub-Saharan Africa. We started in 2017, and we are...
We lost you, David.
So today I'm going to take you through how AGROMYX is using an post-harvest food. Hello? Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now. Please go on.
Okay, all right. So I was saying that I'm going to take you through how waste loss in sub-Saharan Africa. Food waste, post-harvest food waste loss is a major problem in sub-Saharan Africa. Every season, 60% of fresh produce and 21% of cereal grains go to waste. And we go to waste. 80% of food that we consume in our homes are being produced by smallholder farmers. And if nothing is being done about this problem, by 2050, Ghana's population is going to be 50 million, and the problem is going to be worse and even bigger in terms of when you capture the sub-Saharan Africa. So something had to be done quickly to tackle the food waste problem. So what we are doing is AGROMYX is tackling the problem through its brand called Nourrimil. Nourrimil, we focus on 2 product line using working directly with smallholder farmers by processing their fresh produce such as mango, pineapple into fine powder without adding any preservatives. And these products can last more than a year. So you don't need to put them to preserve them. You just have to keep them at a room temperature, and you use it you can use them to do your juice or smoothies, or hotels mostly, they use it in their cooking. And also the cosmetics industry, they use our fruit powders for their cosmetics product. And the new industry that is currently a hot cake on for our products right now is the confectionery industry. The cocoa, the chocolate companies have found our fruit powders very good and very much for their products, because according to them, when they process the chocolate, to incorporate the fresh produce into them becomes a problem. So with the powdered form, it makes things easier for them. And also the second product line, we focus it on Asian grain, because for a very long time, our smallholder farmers process the farm, go into farming of Asian grains such as fonio, sorghum, millet, but the market is not there for them to sell this produce. It's just consumed at the local level. So we are adding a modern touch to it by blending this cereal with this food that's supposed to go to waste, and it can go global, go everywhere. And it's also focusing on some vitamins that are lacking in the ecosystem, such as vitamin A, iron, and so on. So far, we are working with 165 smallholder farmers, and we also don't want to be another burden for the society in terms of ecologically. So that is why we focus our packaging on paper packaging instead of plastic. And we also looking forward. We also we partner with agri-tech companies currently, and through the agri-tech companies, we have access for a lot of smallholder farmers that we can work directly with, that will help us to solve more problems in our rural communities. And also, when it comes to our product, it's a little bit unique right now. When you look around, you don't see a lot of companies doing a similar thing. So it's difficult for people to believe that the product is 100% natural. So what we are doing is to go into partnership with the Ministry of Health to penetrate the market with awareness. Partnering with them will give us more credibility. So, and also with the Ministry of Food and Agri, we have a lot of smallholder farmers to work with. AGROMYX tackle this. We are using our model to tackle circular economy. So basically how we are doing is that we believe at AGROMYX that circular economy is the way forward, because we don't want to be producing from Ghana and ship across oceans. So what we are doing is, because circular economy tackle the problem, our societal problem, better than any other model, we set up our factory in Ghana, and then we work directly with the local farmers, source the raw materials from them. And also after processing it, the residues that come out of these raw materials, we reprocess this into manure that go back to these smallholder farmers. So nothing is going to waste. And also the model to scale up, when we go to, let's say, East Africa, for instance, we don't want to, we want to use their natural resources to tackle their societal problems. For instance, Kenya, we process their, tackle their post-harvest food waste loss by processing their fresh produce, and also tackle their Asian grain that's had to do with that region. And by doing that, we will be working directly and solve a lot of problems, such as reducing the food waste to optimize the crop cycle, increase the standard living of the African farmers, and also reduce the chronic disease that we currently is facing our society. Because a lot of product that we are feeding ourselves, at the end of the day, we resort into these chronic diseases. So that is why we focus our model on 100% natural, so that we can help the society, and the next generation that will come will benefit from a model that is very good, that is better for our future. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, David, for this very interesting presentation as well, and the contribution you make to the circular economy indeed. So our last now speaker, as you see, I mean, the big part of the success is the entrepreneurs themselves. That's why we want to give the floor as many as possible. But Courage, HODEY has the responsibility now to make it short, that we just keep on time. He's a financial manager of Maphlix Trust in Ghana. He is a very strong business, of course, development strategist with experience in planning, budgeting, financial analysis, credit, etc., which is, of course, very, very important for any business that wants to prosper and grow. The company grows sweet potatoes, yam, cassava, vegetables, and also develops innovative products contributing to nutrition. And of course, being a very strong export company is now serving local markets. He has gained a lot of experience from the export into a local, being know-how, food safety, quality products, etc. So please, you have the floor, Courage. Thank you very much. We can't hear you.
Yes, thank you very much, Isolina. Can you please see my screen?
We do. Go ahead.
All right, so thank you. As Jolenta presented on orange flesh sweet potato, our project too is along the same line. So basically, I'll present on two projects along that line, though we also produce other crops in the vegetables category, all numbering about 22. Right, so specifically, we've been seeing more and more food being produced by farming organizations as well as other agribusinesses. But the question still remains that are these food products addressing the food and nutrition security that the SDG 2 wants to achieve? For instance, in 2018, Al-Hassan, Awuni, and Amaglo conducted a research which saw that about 3/4 of preschool children and then 1/5 of pregnant women have vitamin A deficiency in Ghana. So our hope is that we can be able to tackle some of this malnutrition defects with our products. So the first one that we have is what we call the fortified Gari, vitamin A fortified Gari. Largely, Gari is produced from cassava, and Ghana is one of the largest producers of cassava, out of which most individuals and households process Gari. But the issue is that most of this Gari lack nutrients. So, for instance, there is this conception that when you eat Gari in the raw state, as it is produced from cassava, with time, you begin to get blind. So we also conducted some studies into this, and we realized that if we're able to fortify the ordinary Gari with sweet potato and orange flesh sweet potato for that matter, which has high beta carotene, we can be able to overcome that conception of Gari turning people blind, because it will now have high vitamin A, which is good for eyesight. So the fortified Gari that we have currently, which has been produced for testing, is able to provide about 167% of vitamin A requirement per every 100 grams of serving for school children, and also for pregnant women and then lactating mothers is able to provide respectively 65% and then 38% vitamin A requirements for them. The other produce is the orange flesh sweet potato bread. So you realize that for most bread which are produced, most of them are produced from flour, wheat flour, in addition to a mix of sugar or butter. So in order to be able to get required nutritional elements in some of this bread, we've equally come up with a concept where we produce puree that are used for bread manufacturing among bakers. So they're able to produce orange flakes sweet potato bread purely from the puree that we produce. Per the current substitution, they can be able to add 30% to their composition to be able to get the required nutrient mix that we need for the bread. And this bread can be taken and are healthier alternatives for patients such as people who are suffering from diabetes and may not be able to take sugar bread or butter bread. So simply put, these are the two products that we've developed, which are 7 vitamin A deficiency purposes. And also, to put it, most of this produce are produced from our sweet potatoes, which normally are export rejects. So though these are export rejects, we do not throw them away, but we further process them into the vitamin A fortified gari or to puree, which are used by bakers for producing orange flakes sweet potato bread. So to conclude, food and nutrition security is of concern to our Sustainable Development Goal 2, and SMEs like us have the potential to scale it up to outcomes that can be pragmatic. And so therefore, there is the need for conscious steps to be undertaken by various supporting partners to ensure that this goal is fully achieved. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Courage, and also thank you to my colleague Ines Bastos, who has worked with you and has shared this very interesting case. So without delay now, we go to our discussant part, and we have two great experts, and I start by Dr. Lawrence HADDAD, Executive Director of the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition Gain. Very happy to see you here, Lawrence, and I hope you come back to Brussels soon. So GAIN is a foundation that tackles the malnutrition, working with governments, businesses, civil society to transform food systems to deliver more nutritious food for the people, and especially for the most vulnerable, working on increasing consumer demand for nutritious food, increasing availability and affordability, and change market incentives, rules, and regulations. So the very important part of the ecosystem. Lawrence is GAIN Executive Director since 2016. He also chairs Action Track 1 of the UN Food System Summit, and is very busy with the pre-summit starting on Monday. As you know, he was the founding co-chair and lead author of the Global Nutrition Report from 2014 to 2016, the director of the Institute of Development Studies for 10 years, the director of the Food Consumption and Nutrition Division at IFPRI, and of course, as you all know, he was also with David Navarro awarded the 2018 World Food Prize for the work on child nutrition and the global nutrition agenda. So Lawrence, thank you very much for being with us today, despite a very, very busy times. I hope that some of the stories heard today have been inspiring, and I would like, and we would like to hear your views a bit on what is the key role, because GAIN is very much supporting also SMEs, and you wrote a very interesting also a publication on that, very recent. We have put on the note the references for those interested. What can be the role of these small businesses, small and medium enterprises, to transform food systems in Africa by producing, processing, and marketing nutritious and healthy food? And according to your experience working with policy, research, and finance, having attracted many partners at GAIN, what actions are needed to leverage those business successes, especially through private-public partnerships or alliances? So thank you very much. Please, Lawrence.
Thank you, Isolina, and thank you to the two partner organizations who have organized this, and congratulations for such a big audience, big level, 300 people on the line, fantastic. I am really busy with the pre-summit, but it's really hard to resist a panel that has 5 entrepreneurs on it. Whenever I go and visit any of my GAIN countries, of course, and we have 9 program countries, and of course I love to meet with the UN partners and the government partners and the NGO partners, but it's the business partners that really excite me and inspire me, because they're so dynamic. They're so, we can fix this, we can do this, we will figure out a way to get this done. And I just love that. And they're usually young, and very often they're young, dynamic women as well, which is, it's just very inspiring. So my congratulations to the 5 entrepreneurs we have on the panel. Your work is absolutely amazing. I'll try to touch on it in my remarks. So first of all, most people who live in African countries buy their food. I always have to start with this, because a lot of people in Europe and North America think that most people living in Africa grow their own food, and they consume the food they grow. Of course, a lot of people do consume the food that they grow, but it's typically not everything they consume. They typically have to buy quite a wide range. And many people don't grow any food, they just buy it all. And if you buy food in markets, you're engaging with the private sector. And typically, if you are working in sort of middle and lower income communities, you are typically working with small and medium enterprises. So small and medium and micro enterprises essentially are the backbone of food systems in Africa. They are literally the backbone. But they're more than the backbone, they are the DNA of how the food system in their country is going to evolve. We don't really want, I don't really, as a European, I really don't want African food systems to evolve as they have in Europe. Because in Europe, we have, in the country I live in, the UK, we have 1/3 of the population is obese. Just think about that for a second. 1/3 of the population is obese. 6 of the top 10 drivers of mortality and morbidity are diet related. And they're not undernutrition. They're all related to consumption of unhealthy diets. So we want African food systems to avoid that if possible, and just move straight from where they are now to even more healthier diets without going through the unhealthy diet phase. And I think the way SMEs and MSMEs are incentivized to grow will determine what food systems in Africa look like in the future. So from working at GAIN with SMEs and from listening to your 5 entrepreneurs, my sense is that SMEs need 5 things. So the first thing they need is an enabling environment, an enabling policy environment. What do I mean by that? It's kind of a very geeky term. Well, they need government health campaigns that are encouraging people to eat healthy foods. That's very, very important. Most government healthy eating campaigns are not very engaging and not very well funded. So that needs to happen. Still on enabling environment, another example is governments procure lots and lots of food for their schools, for their hospitals and health clinics, for their social protection programs. They need to procure food. They need to send signals out to the private sector. We are interested in purchasing and procuring more healthy food. Agricultural R&D is another enabling environment. Most agricultural R&D in most African countries is geared towards staple foods, cereals. Now cereals are important. Orange flesh sweet potatoes is a great example of that, although it's a very different kind of staple. Staple climate resilience, productivity, salt resilience, salt tolerance, all of this is really important. But I'm not talking about stopping that. I'm talking about rebalancing a bit. Let's have a bit more R&D into how to improve beans and fruits and vegetables and nuts and eggs and fish and dairy. And then the final enabling environment example is social protection. The social protection programs themselves can stimulate the consumption of and production of healthier foods. So there's a lot governments could be doing to incentivize healthy foods, and the companies that will be able to take advantage of that are the small and medium enterprises, the micro, small, and medium enterprises. And the Sun Business Network that the World Food Programme and GAIN co-convene has just created an index called EBANI, E-B-A-N-I. It's the Enabling Business to Advance Nutrition Index. And we've done it for all, I think there are 30 or 40 countries that have Sun Business Networks, maybe 20 in Africa. And for those 20 countries, we've looked at 20 different policies that each government has. And we've said it's a 1 if it supports healthy food, and it's a 0 if it doesn't. And so we've literally tallied that up. And you can see some countries it's 5 out of 20. Which is not very good. Some countries it's 15 out of 20, which is really good. So it's a great way for SMEs to begin having a dialogue with their governments about the enabling environment. Second thing is around SMEs, I think, need business models. They need business model support. So I think David was talking a lot about how do we create a business model to reduce waste that is good for, is circular and good for farmers and suppliers, as well as for people in the middle of the value chain. How do they also need support on product design? So our first 3 speakers all had really sophisticated product design formulations, and they need access to scientists and labs and testing and standard people to help them with standards. And they also need help with business development. How do you market, advertise, get the word out there? And don't forget, the 5 that we have in front of us today are highly successful. They figured it out. Maybe they had the right support when they needed it, but for every 5 that are successful, there are probably 15 that are not successful. So how do we make more companies, more MSMEs like the 5 fabulous ones we have in front of us today? The third thing they need is finance. They need finance. Especially in the middle of COVID-19. Most formal finances won't look at MSMEs. I'll be really interested in the experience of the 5 on the panel. Most formal SMEs won't touch these guys, or if they do, they'll have interest rates that are prohibitive, too big. The microfinance won't touch these guys because they're too big for the microfinance. So they're kind of stuck in the middle. And GAIN, along with others, is developing something called a nutritious food finance facility, which will give not grants, but loans to SMEs. And it will operate in 4 African countries. And it's going to be launched at in the next quarter, actually. The 4th thing they need desperately, I think, is networking. They need networking. Why do they need network? They need to share and learn. They need to have a collective voice, and that comes from networking when they talk to governments. And they need to connect to each other to find out about resources like grants, like GAIN grants, like how to pitch, how to participate in a pitch competition. And quite a few of the speakers talked about mentoring, how important mentoring is. Someone mentioned Aggrey. So those are really important things. And my final point, really, noting that 3 of the 5 presenters were women, I think women, and again, I'd really be interested to hear from the speakers. I think women face, it's difficult enough to be an MSME leader, but to be a woman MSME leader, I think, is even more difficult. We did some work on whether the Sun Business Networks, were they operating in a gender supportive way? And we found out actually some of them were not. They were not calling meetings at times that were convenient for women. They were calling meetings at times convenient for men. Small things like that make a huge difference. Pitches, very often pitches were made to panels that were all male panels. Small things like that make a big difference. Final thing is, when applying for loans, there's some really interesting research coming out of the World Bank that when applying for loans, small and medium enterprises, if the loan application comes from a woman, controlling for everything else, the loans that women get are smaller than the loans that men get. And it doesn't matter if the loan officer is a man or a woman, amazingly enough. So there are lots of things stacked against women and lots of challenges stacked against MSMEs. And we need to flip all of that round, because only by flipping all of that round will, I think, African food systems really evolve into the kind of food systems that will be the envy of the rest of the world. Food systems that are equitable, fair, provide nutritious food in a way that is kind to the environment, and promote resilience within food systems to future shocks. So back to you, Isolina.
Thank you so much, Lawrence. And we are very lucky to have you very much involved on the UN food systems as a great advocate of Africa, farmers in Africa, women, farmers, processors, MSMEs. And
I should say, Isolina, much of our work is with World Food Programme, but a lot of it is with our good friends at FAO. We do a lot of SME work with them.
Absolutely. Actually, I have put the website because I do encourage people to look at GAIN for the richness of resources, you know, and of course the papers of Lawrence, but very, very rich. I've learned myself a long time, actually, since you were at IFPRI. So I think I have missed very, very few of your papers. So we are very interested, of course, I know it, but I encourage people, the SMEs on the Sun Business Network, because indeed, one of the things we want is networking, and you will see even in the participants, we have many from the Caribbean, including from the Pacific, and of course, Africa. And there are many, many good models and drivers of success to share. We are, well, you can't imagine, I'm sure they have heard very well what you are going to launch, the Nutritious Finance Facility. Certainly, I do hope we can collaborate on that. COLEACP is doing work as well on making accessible, I mean, credits and finance, because it's that missing middle where, you know, they cannot get too small and too big. So that would be extremely interesting. And of course, all the mentoring and the facilities you have already at GAIN. So thank you very much. We get back to you on the part related to the questions. Our last discussant, Dr. AGUMYA, is the Director for Research and Innovation at the Forum for Agricultural Research in Africa. You know that FARA is the continental organization responsible for coordinating and advocating for agriculture research for development. So is also the technical arm of the African Union Commission on matters very important to us and for the SMEs, which are agriculture science, technology, and innovation. And of course, FARA is the entry point for agriculture initiatives in Africa, and also a strong voice on global forums, strong voice, African voice, of course, to global forums, such as the G8 or the Global Forum on Agriculture Research. So you have heard Aggrey, many, of course, of the SMEs have in a part of their business, of their pathway, a link to research, but is insufficient, or as Lawrence has said, you know, just for some of the value chains, which are perhaps easier traditionally. So AGUMYA is joined FARA in 2006. He was previously in charge as well of stakeholder engagement and communication. He has a strong participation and engagement in consultations with stakeholders in food system, and drafting the Continental Manifesto on Forgotten and Underutilized Foods, which will be presented as well at the UN Food System Summit later this year. So I know that you are very, very interested, of course, on the vast potential that the African continent has to feed the population by and through nutrient-dense, resilient, and well-adapted, of course, to the local growing conditions. So Aggrey, please, having heard, and you are the last speaker today, how do you think that the African research contributes to catalyzing agricultural innovations for nutrition across Africa? And what would be the contribution of research is, or would be even more, to the SMEs growth, highlighting perhaps some of the work you are doing on the forgotten and indigenous foods. Please, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, Isolina. And thank you to PAFO and COLEACP for extending this invitation to FARA. I was very happy to listen to the cases that have been presented, and I'm also honored to share this platform with the person of Lawrence's stature. Lawrence, we've been following the great work that we are doing, and we are very proud of your contribution to this domain of food security. We see the title of this event on farmer-led businesses. In the past, we have partnered with PAFO and COLEACP on farmer-led research, and the trend is for farmers to play an important and leading role in various aspects of the food domain. So we're very pleased to demonstrate the nexus between farmer-led business and farmer-led research. On the side of research, I have categorized the contribution of research into three main areas. How research contributes to catalyzing innovation for nutrition. The first one is on the domain of policy that Lawrence has really covered very well. The second is on the technologies, the tools, the technical tools for, and then the third one would be on markets and other forms of institutions. And the cases have brought all of these out. On the domain of policy, one of the biggest contributions of research is to generate the evidence, generating the evidence for the policy shifts necessary for nutrition to be given the attention it merits, and for focusing on the areas that are most important. One of the arguments that is made but not adequately supported, in my view, by the data, and the data is there, but we don't see it as often as we should, is that shifting to healthy diets that include sustainability contributions can reduce health costs by a bigger margin than the costs that we are experiencing with the current consumption patterns. Lawrence talked about the levels of obesity and so on, and the illnesses related to poor nutrition, overnutrition in many cases. The cost of shifting to healthy diets versus the cost of the current consumption patterns, if that evidence was brought out more clearly with the numbers well explained, I think that kind of argument would help to shift the attention more to nutrition, to healthier diets. Then we also need more guidelines and incentives towards influencing consumption behaviors. We've seen these increasingly being applied on taxes on sugar or products that have different levels of sugar. And it is the science that supports this, but we need more of this kind of research in our contexts in Africa. On the technology side, I think it's more clear. We have technologies being used to improve productivity, to improve resilience, and also to improve the nutrition profile of foods, as the examples biofortification have demonstrated. We have orange-fleshed, provitamin, iron, zinc, beans. Those are the result of research. But when we look at the crops that are promoted, they are, again, among the 4 crops that account for 2/3 of the calories we eat. The rice, maize, soybean, and wheat. And we need to diversify. We need to diversify because these crops are not as nutrient dense as the ones that are less utilized in many cases. We have a good example where amaranth, which is green leafy vegetable, indigenous, has 18 times more vitamin C, 30 times more vitamin A, 5 times more iron than cabbage. And yet we are more inclined to eat cabbages than the amaranth. Perhaps, but sometimes most of the reason why we have cabbages is because they're more accessible to us. They are the amaranth and our traditional foods are not as available. So there is a need to diversify our diets, to embrace the more nutritious and less utilized foods. Now, the challenge with that, which we have been working on here at FARA, is there's very little information about these foods, and we don't have the capacity, the training at a higher level for us to do this. We recently had to source for a consultant to do a study on indigenous foods. It was a review of the status of indigenous foods, and we struggled to get somebody at short notice, which is an indication that we need to develop that area of work. Then the third one and the last one would be the research on markets and forms of institution. The example from Nigeria was talking about innovation in food product design and in market connectivity. That's an area of research that is less visible, but it's an extremely important part of the research on the food system. A lot of the investment goes to the productivity kind of work, but these issues of markets and institutions are extremely important. Allow me to conclude this by presenting 2 slides of a study that I was involved in Southern Africa. It was on the domestication of indigenous fruits. Can I share my slide to do that?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. So the fruits that we were looking at were those listed there: wapaka, strychnos, and Ansonia, and the mango. And the rationale for us to do this was that the fruits are in season during the months when hunger is most acute. So there is a potential for them to contribute to food and nutritional security. They are known to be nutrient dense, but they have a short season, so they have a limited shelf life. So we wanted to deploy research to extend the shelf life. And they grow in the wild, so they're not easily accessible by farmers. So wanted to bring them on farm, hence the domestication. So the objective was to bring these widely growing fruits on the farm to increase their consumption so they can contribute food security and to extend their shelf life. The work involved developing their propagation techniques, promoting uptake, and doing some product development to increase consumption. This was by exploring how we can improve them being consumed fresh, dried, and other forms of processing. The propagation techniques were developed, the private and community nurseries were established, consumption by the people who grow them was raised. The challenge was on the, I would bring back what the case from Nigeria highlighted: innovation in product design and in market connectivity. And so to extend the shelf life, we initially got farmers who had grown these fruits to process them into juice and sell, and they were mostly women. And it just didn't work. And why didn't it work? We found that, and it took us quite a number of iterations to figure it out. The farmers were not well placed, well situated to sell juice. They were, the advice was that what we found out was they were better placed to sell the concentrate to the SMEs who have the capacity and the competencies to do the marketing to the consumers. This was identified after several years and several iterations. So the main point here was that we would have avoided the years that we lost trying to figure out how to commercialize these products if we had engaged the private sector, the farmers and the researchers in an innovation system kind of arrangement. So the point I am closing with is that the research can do a lot of things in bringing the solutions to address the issues of food and nutrition security, provided it is done in a manner that reduces time, that brings the results of the research very quickly. And that requires an institutional innovation to carry out research in that way. It requires to be done in an innovation systems kind of arrangement. Final point, the big challenge we have with the research is the capacity. The capacity not just of the researchers, but the capacities of the farmers and the private sector to engage in research, to contribute to research, for the farmers to express their needs, and for the private sector to gainfully participate in the research. Thank you very much, Isolina.
Thank you very much, Aggrey. And from COLEACP, I certainly agree with you that more linkages have to be done, private sector research and farmers, and towards, upscaling as well, successes, towards very pragmatic results. So very much taken. We are a bit late, so Fatma, I give you straight the floor. I've seen a very lively chat as usual. Many have been replied already bilaterally or in group. Do you have some key questions that we can't open because we are too many, the floor, but you had an opportunity to put it in the chat. Fatma, please.
Yes, thank you, Isolina. Very, very quickly, and I've tried to consolidate the questions and comments from the registration. Of course, some of the questions were already answered by Dr. Aggrey, for example, to Sibina, who was asking what contribution of research for SMEs. So how also what strategy we can provide to heavily indebted poor countries, how to support the online trade as well, and what support we can bring to or provide to the SMEs to be competitive on the international and local markets. There was another question also. I'm giving very general questions, and later I will come to the specific questions. So what about the competitors coming from outside the continent. So how we can manage with these competitors, especially coming from China. A lot of comments regarding the exchange of experiences, the duplication in other regions, in other countries as well. And these, let's say, sessions and innovation series are encouraging such exchange of experiences. Of course, all the comments and all the presentations are going to be put on our websites, the PAFO and COLEACP website, but also you can discuss with the presenters, with the panelists, and matchmake together for this exchange of experiences. But also our aim for PAFO and COLEACP, both of us, it's how to upscale these experiences. The packaging challenge as well was mentioned. What would be the strategies for expansion? And this is what I've said regarding the upscaling. So now for Marie-Ange, for example, how you can maintain the sustainability of the production, the capacity, and how do you cooperate with farmers, and how you can retain them, these farmers, to exchange and to cooperate and to partner together. Have you thought of establishing partnerships with other East African countries? And do you have competitors on the variety of pumpkins? The main transformed parts of the pumpkins are the seeds. So what is done with the rest of the pumpkin? So a lot of other remarks that were already also answered by Marie, Jolenta, how farmers are organized to produce enough for you to have enough production. Your experience is also very similar, and Isolina has already mentioned it, with an experience in the Gambia, and it's good to have this exchange between all of you. So this, I consider it as a general question as well. The access to affordable technologies. So Dr. Aggrey, you've spoken already about the new technologies, the innovations, but how they can be affordable to our farmers. SANGOLEYE, so this is a very attractive experience for a lot of participants in this session, and it would be great also to exchange it in other countries. So also, David, do you buy the raw products from farmers, or are they involved in the processing? Courage also, how do you ensure quantity and constituency of the input? Let me finish perhaps with Laurence. What is or what would be the best financing, if there is a best financing mechanism to support the SMEs? So this is really very quickly consolidated questions, remarks, and of course, we continue with our sessions, and we will continue answering some of the comments, of course, that we have recorded, that we are going to revert back to our participants. Thank you very much. Isolina, over to you.
Thank you, Fatma. We also document business profiles, and we'll have B2Bs and investment match. So you received that because it's all online. So we have a question of time there. And I think the most important was to show already what the entrepreneurs do, because we can follow up. What I suggest is to give 2 minutes to each to take some of the questions they think they can, in the order they presented this morning, on the part that you think is more adequate to your business. So Marie-Ange, for example, can you speak a bit on the quality consistency challenges you have on the inputs, and how do you involve or will involve more the farmers and access to technology? So if each of you can pick up one or two of the questions raised. Please, Marie-Ange.
Thank you so much, Isolina. Starting on the farmers partnership, we provide them with the inputs. We give our farmers inputs, we give them the seed to grow, and we provide them the technical skills. We provide them each and everything needed so that we could be sure of having high quality raw materials to process in our factory. So by providing them all of these irrigation system, drying, solar dryers and everything to help them, they can be sure of the trust in us. And when they give us the harvest, we make sure we give them the payment on time. So when you give them like 5 farmers or 10 farmers, they also going everywhere and told other farmers to come working with our enterprise. And this make them believing in us and see the way we are going in our future. And also I have asked about the regional partnership. We arranged to work with the sales agent, where like in the DRC, we have a sales agent who know the location and the supermarket. He come and took the product in our country and going to distribute them in DRC. Also the same we want to copy in all other district, other countries in East Africa, where we have started to talk with the agent who will go to distribute the product in Kenya. So they will distribute our product in supermarket and shops so that each and everyone in those countries could access the product. So we are going to start with that high supermarket, and later we will be going to engage the rural community too. About the competition in the production, Zima is the only processing company in Rwanda that processes the pumpkin. We have registered our seeds or varieties in Rwanda Agricultural Board, where we are the only pumpkin processing company allowed to have such kind of variety. We have intellectual property, where we are the one who provide others to have agreement with us to supply with us. And if anyone want to copy our business or to make what we do, he come to ask us the permission. So with that regulation and intellectual properties, we make sure we provide the best quality and high quality products to our customers, and make sure that in our progress, we will not have many troubles with competitors. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Very good points highlighted here, including the IPR and the registering key parts of the business. Jolenta, please.
Can you briefly tell me the question, because I was lost sometimes, so yes, I didn't get the question, sorry.
No problem. The one you think is best, there were a few of them. Do you have any prospects on growing, for example, online trade? Do you have problems of quality and consistency of inputs? Do you have an issue of getting upscaling based on the technology and better access to finance, for example, in 2 minutes? Hello, Jolenta, can you hear? I think she has some challenges, so perhaps we go to Oluwaseun. Are you here?
I'm here, thank you.
Please go ahead. Which ones you want to correspond to your business, and what perhaps do you need, the most pressing things you will need to get to the next level?
Thank you very much. Thank you for listening, everyone. I think at this point in time, pressing need would be around, what's the word now? Technical finance, and technical assistance rather, and also financial assistance. But technical is crucial now, so that we maintain our quality as it is, because I mentioned that we are at the stage where we are scaling to different countries, and we want to be consistent, which is why we are investing in our own in-house laboratory. And we also want to be able to bag at least 2 international certifications, safety certifications, so that we can reinstate trust in the quality of the products as it goes across borders. And also, we are taking different courses and trainings on trading across borders, because now there's a lot of factors, a lot of things that we have to consider. Exchange rates, getting your money from other countries, international laws, regarding trading and all of that. And so we're getting educated in that regard too. That's another area of need. And I just wanted also to mention briefly on, talk briefly about, competition, especially regarding imported products. The edge that we also still have is that we have access to raw materials close to us. But then on the flip side is we are not knowledgeable enough on, how to use some of these products. Like for us, we had to partner with the Technical University of Denmark, just so that we can, the R&D, so that we can be competitive enough. And so another area that we can compete favorably is also, a deep knowledge and understanding of the African tradition. So for us at Baby Grubz, all our foods are authentic African foods. When I say authentic, it tastes like African foods. And so, for a child who is taking foods imported from Europe or China or wherever, the taste is different from the tastes and textures, that we have in our local environment. So yes, these are some of the areas where we can compete favorably with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And this knowledge of markets and laws, regulations across borders is very important. We did an innovation session, and PAFO has done a study on that as well, on the SMEs compared to the opportunities of the Africa Free Trade Agreement. And actually there is very, very little knowledge. A lot has to be done there, that the SMEs are aware and can capture those opportunities. Please, David.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, we are actually looking for 2 main things. The first one is strategic partnership in East Africa and across the continent. Because without the strategic partners, it will be difficult for us to understand the markets that we want to penetrate. And these strategic partners, we want people who believe in the vision, who understand our ideology. Mostly strategic partners come with a lot of people. We get a lot of partnership across the globe currently, but most of them is about money. And I keep telling people that it is not only about money. We are not in business to become another super giant company in the next future, but rather to have more impact on the society. Because it doesn't make sense when you pile up a lot of money and then your societal problem become a lot and then you have to solve these problems. So when you are coming on board, have in mind at the back of your mind that you come on board for us to understand our ideology, believe in the mission to help us to solve the problem on the ground. When you go in our local communities, you don't need to be told, it smells poverty. And we want to use agriculture to turn this around, to turn our continent. Nobody is going to come out from anywhere like Jesus Christ to come and save our continent. We are going to do this ourselves. So strategic partnership is the number 1 key that we are looking at right now. And the second one is the financial support. These smallholder farmers that we are dealing with right now, most of them, the challenge is the processing side of the grains, the local grains. They do everything traditionally, locally. They base the grains, and then those are the challenges that we have currently. So we need financial support to be able to penetrate, for instance, the folio industry, to process these grains, because previously, a lot of companies, you don't see any company processing fonio on the entire continent. They just sell it at a raw stage. And we took it upon ourselves to be adding value. So it's putting pressure on them. So if you are able to get financial support to process this faster, they will also maximize their revenue. It will also maximize their revenue. And we also need financial support to expand our production capacity, because without this, we will not be able to absorb a lot of farmers. Just last month, we were able to run market tests for our product in some parts of Abidjan, and it was great. A lot of people love it. So we are thinking of scaling up and replicate the model across the continent. And we need to have, before we can do this, we need to have a very strong position domestically before we will be able to penetrate other regions. So those are the two things that we need from you.
Thank you very much. Jolenta is back. Jolenta, what are the two things that you need to grow to the next step of your business?
Well, thank you so much. For me, what I think is more of technical support on the marketing and promotion of these nutritious crops or products, so that at least we reach so many people in the community, as we know that these are really important for the people to consume, so that we don't have this health problem at the old ages. And also, I think another thing that's very important is the connection between researchers and these small entrepreneurs, so that at least what these young people are doing, at least the researchers know, and then what they are doing or publishing can be taken by these entrepreneurs. I think in the local food systems, young entrepreneurs, or I can say the SMEs, are the important part. So we need to technically help them so that they grow their business in terms of the technical support, and also in terms of the financing, so that they reach so many people. And at the end of the day, keep on capacitating them on how the best we can produce the quality and quantity products.
Thank you very much. Courage.
Yes, Isolina, please, the question again.
No, let's tell us, there are many questions about competitiveness, quality, consistency, finance, research for you and your business. What are the two things that are now very, very important to get to the next level of growth of your business? In 2 minutes max, less if possible.
Yes, thank you very much. So one of them is to be able to build partnership that transcends just the founder or the owner of the business, because you'd have to build a team that believes in your vision, who are able to also run with that vision. And apart from that, you may need to have partnerships with other people. For instance, we work with smallholder farmers. We work with educational institutions who send their students to come and learn what we do. They research on those things to inform us on how to improve such. We work with other food organizations. We work with funders and so forth. So building these partnerships is key to sustaining the gains that anybody is able to make. And then secondly, investing in our quality systems. You know, mostly what we've seen in Africa is that most often we just produce the products and probably maybe it's not being certified or something. But as a growing firm, one of the things that I've seen that most African SMEs need is that they need to invest in their quality systems so that they can be able to consistently meet quality standards and be able to deliver produce which have the highest quality for their customers. And I believe that once you do that, your customers will keep coming back to you for more, and then we can be able to generate value along that line. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we kind of close with 2 minutes for Lawrence and Aggrey. So, you know, you have heard the main issues: technical support for quality, sophisticated products, of course, finance, technology, especially the processing part, and adding value. Obviously, that's where you also make more money grow. Also, I'm very glad to see that money is not the first, you know, part, and it's very important on nutrition, because you need some kind of, you know, engagement and thinking that you can change things and not just make money. So thank you very much for highlighting that. What else would you add, Lawrence? We know that GAIN can do a lot, and I think many of us, and especially the entrepreneurs, will reach out and look to work, you know, with you. But what else would you like to highlight or stress?
Well, first of all, GAIN is not a foundation, so we have to raise money, which we then pass on to others. So that's the first thing. Don't think we're loaded with loads of money. We have to go out and raise it ourselves. I think the two things that strike me, one is, I forgot to mention it the first time around, Ange talked about how Zima is exporting a lot to other African countries, and I think the new Africa Continental Trade Agreement, which came into being in January, I think this year, is a big opportunity for SMEs to trade. I think, and to expand. I think and to diversify, really important, because it's a great risk mitigation mechanism to diversify into different countries. I think the big issue is finance. How do I get finance? And I think it's really interesting. GAIN's experience in setting up the nutrition finance facility has been, we've gone to when you set these funds up, you think that there's going to be about 20% of the loans that you're not going to get back, because SMEs are operating, especially if they're targeting domestic consumption of nutritious food. First of all, they're SMEs, so they're quite small, and financiers see them as risk averse. Second of all, they're not producing mainly for export; they're producing mainly for domestic markets, and if they want to have an impact on nutrition, and that means that the investors are also taking on the risk of exchange rate fluctuations, because if it was for export, the SME would get paid in dollars and the investors would get paid in dollars, but it's not that the case. And then third of all, you have the nutrition stuff on top of it, which makes it even more complicated. So you're small for domestic consumption, and you need to have a nutrition impact. Those are three hurdles that financiers have to get over. And so private sector is never going to invest in this unless there is some de-risking from the public sector. And we really need to educate the public sector institutions, I think, about this opportunity, because many of them are willing to make grants, but very few of them are willing to make loans that they may not get back. And it's a very odd, I find it very odd, because in giving a loan that they may not get back, they are enabling a whole bunch of private sector financiers to come in and give loans. So they shouldn't be thinking, well, we gave a loan and we didn't get anything back, so we've got nothing to show for it. You think, we gave a loan, we didn't get anything back from our money, but look at all that money we leveraged and liberated for SMEs to do these great things. So I think the big work is to deal with the public sector and to change the way they think about SME financing. Back to you.
Thank you very much. And the public sector leads me to research, Aggrey. What would you add to what you have heard, considering I see still comments in the chat that, you know, Africa, there is a lack of research on certain crops, of support. From the research side, I am from the private sector side. What do you think we could do more to assist you on that, as well as, of course, the farmer side with PAFO here? Or what are further comments that you would like to add to what you have heard in moving forward, of course, and taking that nutrition in Africa, you know, to the next step?
Yeah, thank you very much again. I've appreciated that trinity of technologies, policy, markets, and institutions is very important. The links need to be strengthened. In April, at the end of April, there was a high-level dialogue that was organized by IFAD and the African Development Bank. And FARA and the CGIAR were involved in that dialogue. What is important is that at the end, 5 organizations came forward and pledged $17.5 billion to be spent in the next 3 to 5 years on value chains and on promoting technologies to drive for research to drive value chains and bring about the kind of transformation that the continent needs. So this is money that is going to be mostly given to countries as loans on concessional terms. And we are figuring out how we are going to organize ourselves as researchers, as private sector, and farmers as a collective, that kind of a group that will look at technologies, markets, and institutions and policies to drive the transformation. So we have some good news about resources coming in. During the Food System Summit, we expect that more information will be given on how this big investment is going to filter eventually to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I hope then we will collaborate with private sector farmers and make a difference. And I think the next step is really scaling up the ones that work, and of course, to support the ones emergent. Well, my role is finishing now. We are just a few minutes delay. There are many questions. We will follow up on some. For the cases, I saw one for the cases. How do you find these SMEs and so on? Well, by looking a lot, because some are members of COLEACP or PAFO, others absolutely not. The entry point is successes done by themselves, and that could inspire others. So feel free, if you have your own success, to just reach out and you will come as well and share and present. That's our entry point. And thank you to my colleagues, to of course Axel Rupert, Susanna Majeska and Mohamed, who were on the technical side, and yes, all of our PAFO partners. This is the start of the conversation, and we'll continue it in other ways. But thank you very much for still being with us today, and bye-bye, keep all well. Please, Fatma.
Oui, merci Isolina, merci à vous tous, à nos entrepreneurs qui sont...
Isolina, thank you to all these entrepreneurs without which the sessions wouldn't be as creative. Thanks to the panelists, participants, and I'm was very happy to see so many participants from the Caribbean, from the Pacific region, and Latin America. We remain available to carry on discussing. And but we would like to give you a heads up. The next meeting is held on Thursday, 23rd of September 2021. This is a fixture every 2 months, same time, same place, and we would like to promote on promoting sustainable farming and investing in agroecology. Please save the date for this new session. And fact sheets of entrepreneurs, everything will be available, everything will be passed forward to you. And I would like to thank the interpreters who enabled us to communicate and understand each other's. Thank you very much to the team, yes, thanks to the technical team, thanks to the communication teams and PAFO and COLEACP staff. We can't see you, but we feel your support. Thank you very much. Over to you, Isolina. Keep safe and have a lovely day, lovely evening. and see you soon. See you in September. Bye-bye.
And good luck for the pre-summit next week for those who will be there.
Yes.
Bye, Laura.
All right, goodbye.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.